Good evening. Welcome to the latest edition of Storm Report. I'm one of the co-hosts, Chris Sipperly, a co-owner of the team as well as general manager. I'm joined by my co-host, Adam Samrov, who's a assistant line coach here with the team. And we also have our guest tonight, Steve Glaudin Jr. Thanks for coming on tonight, guys.
No problem.
All right. With that, we'll kick it right off, and let's get it rolling. So go ahead, Adam.
A rare Monday night appearance for Storm Report.
Yes.
We usually Wednesdays, but tonight we make the change for Steve here.
Yeah, as Steve and I have been joking for a month.
Yeah,
is that eventually the stars will align and we'll eventually get this done, and here we are. So,
and damn it, today's that day.
Yep.
All right, so we've been doing some of these interviews. Obviously, you've seen a lot of these interviews, and we haven't had a chance to really. We talked to you. I think it was in October of 22 when we were doing some of our stuff in the field house in Canaan. We were having our practices and stuff. So we want to get a chance to, like we've been doing, to get to know, who you are and, where you're from and some of your history. So, tell me where you grew up and, how did you kind of started playing football? Who kind of got you into the game of football when you were growing up?
All right. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn. I started playing in high school. I was playing baseball before that and like basketball. So I was athletic then before, but got into football when I got to high school just because of size.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yo, let's get on football team. I was like, all right, cool, why not? So I started off when I went to high school, I was a running back. Transitioned into O-line because we were down a lot of dudes on the O-line.
Yep.
So just moved over to O-line, ended up staying there for 2 seasons. Then my senior year, we were short guys in general. So just got moved around all over, played running back, O-line, linebacker, just about everything except for safety and like corner. But
which high school did you go to down there?
Frankie K. Lane campus. I went to Brooklyn Lab School in the
Gotcha.
Graduated from there, salutatorian in my class. Went over, ended up going to Hudson Valley, just to try to get some more offers. Because I had a couple D1 schools talking to me academic wise.
Yep.
Just told me I would have to redshirt and then just wait for my opportunity. But I wanted to play like right out of high school.
Sure.
So I ended up going to Hudson Valley just to try to get some offers. Went there as a running back. I was like 235 maybe. Ended up being the 5th string back there. We had like 20 dudes came in as running backs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dudes.
So I mean, I was happy being a 5th string after being on the O-line for a couple years.
Sure.
But they ended up telling me if I played O-line, I would start instead of redshirting at a JUCO. So I was like, you know what? I wanted to play. It makes no sense to redshirt here. So I just ended up playing O-line. Then we got hit with the COVID year.
Yeah.
So took the year off of that. Was focused more on work instead of playing ball at that point because it was COVID. So I ended up screwing myself over with school just because of focusing on the work aspect versus on the school aspect. Because I'm not like I'm sure you guys know, but I'm not sure if everybody else knows. Hudson Valley don't got no dorms. So during COVID, you still got to pay your rent. I mean, they still wanted that rent.
Right.
So you got to focus on what's at the table at the time. So I ended up going back to Hudson Valley after COVID. It's pretty big when I went back, maybe like in the 300 club.
Wow.
So I just stood on the whole line, started at center. I was a dog. I had my film from there, and then after I graduated at the Valley, I was like, my GPA was I had like a 2.49, and I needed the 2.5 for school.
Yeah.
So like it was either pay $1,200 for a class so I could go D1, or just keep working. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep working for now. I might take a year off. I ended up reaching out to Luke actually because I worked with him at the bar, and he actually told me to come over to a practice once for y'all. So I just came through, and then I snapped the ball once, and you guys loved me. So I ended up playing center for you guys. After that, I ended up going to Glens Falls because we took a year off for the rebuild.
Yeah.
So I ended up going over there. Lost a significant amount of weight, so I ended up trying to go there as a quarterback, but they already had like 7. So they ended up trying to move me to fullback. So I actually left them for a little bit and went with TFI. But they had no dudes at practice. They told me, "Oh yeah, you'll play QB or let's try do something, but we want you on the O line." I'm like, "Nah, not doing that." So then I ended up going back to Glens Falls.
Yep.
They had me on the rotation for D line. I dogged out when I saw the field.
Yeah.
Some dogs over there too, so just had to earn my way into the rotation, and I did that. Balled out, won a ring over there. Oh yeah, I also won a ring in high school, undefeated season, 13-0. Yeah, won a ring with them and coming back home, I guess.
Well, I want to go all the way back to the high school thing. So,
Yeah,
most of the guys obviously are either Mass guys or Albany guys. You're a New York guy.
yeah.
And so a lot of these guys are used to the Mass system, or they're in Section 2, and so they're used to how we do it up in New York, in the sectionals and all that.
Yeah.
New York City football is different in how they kind of handle the schedules and how it is. Can you tell me a little bit about how that worked in terms of like who you guys played, and it wasn't like a real. It's not. There's always a joke among some of it's like, oh, the New York championship is not the real championship because we don't play the New York City schools. It's the other sections. Go to Syracuse.
I heard that too when I moved out here.
Right.
So the way our football is set up is it's all the city schools. So like down there they also have private league. That's what my brothers play for. They go to private high school, so they play in their own private league. That I think they play some of the schools upstate too. Like up here, they play some schools. But it's like the city teams that I play for. We play against so it's broken off into like Cup, Bowl, and City. So City is the higher tier teams. Bowl is like the mid tier teams, and then the Cup is like the newer teams or developing teams that maybe haven't had a good couple seasons, so they drop. So,
but that's not the same as PSAL, which I know is the public school.
Nah, yeah, that's all in the PSAL.
Oh, it is. So it is all PSAL. Okay.
Incorporated in that. So
Gotcha.
it's a lot of schools. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's they switched it up now since I've been out of high school. But as far as when I was there, I think it was about like 24 teams in each division.
Wow.
So then it's all broken off into I think it's top 8 teams going to playoffs. So it's all for power points and point differential. So I know when I was there our senior year, we were blowing teams out by like 60 points a game. So but also too, we were in the Cup. We shouldn't have been in the Cup. We should have been in the Bowl. So when we played in the Cup, the teams in that it's almost like the single A here and the double A and the triple A. The single A teams, they couldn't compete with us. We were just way more physical than them. But when we got into like the bowl conference, we started seeing some competition. We scrimmaged a couple of city teams, and we did good against them. So that was our advocate to move up to the city. But they just moved us up to the bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean,
different world.
We were putting in pain down there. So,
but it's the way they do it though, because of the way New York City is. It's so much different than any other place I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In terms of how they do their schools and their classifications and all that stuff. It's a different animal.
Yeah, and you could be like on one block and you considered a Brooklyn team. So like now they're doing it by boroughs. So like you could be on like Brooklyn and Queens is like right across the street from each other in some areas. So like you could be on one side of the block and that school is considered a Brooklyn team. But if they change the address and put it under a Queens address, they can play against Queens schools. So sometimes the competition is softer in certain boroughs. So I know that's how they're doing it now. So some schools have campuses, like they have a campus and they have different schools play for one campus. So that they might use the address on one of the specific schools that's in Queens just to get that whole team to play against schools in Queens.
Gotcha.
When they should be a Brooklyn team.
Sounds like a shenanigans.
Yeah, it is. It's confusing because one year they're playing in Queens, the next year they're playing in Brooklyn. It just bounces.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember if Staten Island's part of that or not. I don't believe. I can't remember because I know then they got Long Island, which is sections just like we do it up here.
Yeah, Long Island, we don't play Long Island teams. Right. Staten Island teams, we definitely do because schools like Curtis and them, we definitely play them in the PSAL.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and football is the only one where PSAL teams don't play for a state championship. So if
Yep.
track kids from PSAL schools will come up for the states for New York, for indoor track or outdoor track, stuff like that. So
they'll do
it is a
states and
different
nationals and stuff. Football won't. Or
right.
like basketball, I'm not sure if basketball does. I don't believe they do. They did it when I was there.
Well, they have like the federation tournament, but that's kind of going away too, where you'll have your regular state tournament and say like Glens Falls when they had like Joe Girard, back a handful of years ago, and now he's at Clemson.
Yeah.
But then so they won the state championship, and then they also faced like some of the schools from either like Buffalo area or New York, and it was they called it the federation tournament. That's how you get your true state championship in a sport like basketball versus football, where we don't do it that way. So, but it's a different animal, like I said, than most of the guys that we've talked to, most of the guys that are on with us in the Storm. It's, they're used to the Section 2 and this New York State way versus the New York City. So, and then you kind of talked about, you kind of went through your whole thing really quick. You said you talked to Luke and that was the person that kind of got you onto the Storm. What did you think when you kind of came to us? And you're like, hey, let me check this out. Like, was it immediately like, hey, this is my place? Or was it like, hey,
I didn't really have to think about it, honestly. I got there. I vibed with the coaches when I got there. Nobody rubbed me the wrong way. So like, when I got there, it kind of like my first practice there kind of felt like college again. I'm like, oh, you guys wear my college colors too. So I on my college gear.
Yep.
So I just came to the practice. I did what I normally do and balled out. And then you guys liked me. I liked you guys. So I just stood.
So, the opportunity obviously presented itself now for you to come back, this season. What kind of makes it home for you? Like what kind of makes you want to kind of be here again?
It's just the vibe. I mean, I preach loyalty. That's like my main thing. And I know when I first came through, I told you guys like I didn't want to play center, but I'll play center for you guys because like y'all need a center. I'm a team guy. I'm not trying to put the team in jeopardy because we don't have a center.
Right.
But I mean, you guys were always open to me trying to get on defense too. That was another thing. I respected that. Like I know it was tough because you guys didn't want to get me hurt running both sides when we had dudes.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. We're definitely trying to get me in the rotation for defense, and I appreciated that. I mean, I played for other teams. I played for the Huskies down in Queens. That was a nightmare. We had 13 dudes show up for games. We got guys getting hurt mid-game, especially like a quarterback getting hurt. We don't have another quarterback. We can't finish the game. I went to Glens Falls. We had too many guys that sometimes we got guys on the side that can't even play. And it's like, all right, you guys are paying your money to play, but you can't play. You know what I mean? You guys make sure guys get in the rotation. Even if it's not that much, everybody touches the field. At least for a play, at least for a drive. You know what I mean?
And it's even like on the special team side too. Like I think we put a bunch of guys on special teams that maybe weren't going to be the main defense offense guys, but we have all that talent. There's no reason to just have it sitting over there.
Get them on the field at least somewhere.
Yeah,
right.
Like make sure they get on. Make sure they're playing. Like I mean,
it's certainly a challenge.
That people paid to play and paid to be there, sacrificing their time from work. We're all adults. We all got to work. We all got lives outside of this. So just making sure that everybody's getting their play. Like, especially on like if we're blowing a team out, get them in there. Get that whole second team in there. Get that whole third team in there. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that the Glens Falls guys didn't do that.
No, I know what you mean. It's hard.
It was harder because they wanted to. They were on a let's put up 1,000 points on these guys mindset, while you guys are on a we're winning. Let's get these guys some play. And if things start, excuse my language, but if it starts shitting the bed, let's get the starters back in there. Let's start getting right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not let's just keep pounding these guys with our starters until 3 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, like 22, that was a fun season. Came with its challenges, but I think, we did some good things. And, as you put it, 2023 was, kind of a pause, as they say. And I think we have a really good group of guys coming in, a bunch of good guys coming back. I think the coaches are phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
That we have this year.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
No, it's I really like, you know, what they're doing. They're very engaged. I know Coach Grimes in particular spends a lot of time reaching out to guys, making sure everything's good with them. You know, it's more than football, obviously, but you know, football being the number one topic of conversation. But I know there's a lot of outreach that goes on a day-to-day basis. So I really like where we're at so far.
And so coming in this year, like you said, you know, you were with Glens Falls and you were with Troy, then you went back to Glens Falls. So a lot of transition for you.
Yeah.
What's the thing you're kind of looking forward to, like getting back into it with the Storm again here in 24? What's kind of some of your goals? I mean, you know, I don't mean like stats or any of that kind of stuff, but what's, you know, obviously other than championship, because that should be the goal anyway. What's some of those things that you're looking to do in terms of, you know, bettering yourself and you know, becoming a better football player, becoming a better teammate, that kind of stuff?
I mean, I am looking forward to getting back to the regular. You know what I mean? Like getting back to what I was used to with the Storm, like practices with us. Like I missed running team. We didn't do that a lot where I was at. We didn't run a lot of team. I enjoyed running team because I felt like it got us game ready. Listen, I'm just ready for the Storm vibe. Like that's what I'm waiting for. I've been waiting for it since the first day that I was away from Storm.
Yeah.
So
we miss you guys too. Let's just be honest. You know, it's a relationship at the end of the day. So I definitely understand where you're coming from.
What do you think of the earlier start too? What do you think in terms of, you know, being able to get guys to be able to play? You know, the season isn't so long this time around. You know, what do you think that's going to do in terms of getting the most amount of guys to be able to be there on Saturdays and get to the practices during the week?
well, I mean, I feel you said the season's not going to be as long as it was.
Well, it's going to start sooner.
It starts earlier.
So like last year, I think. Forgive me, I think it was the third week of June or something. It's now the 15th, so there's a week less, and there's one less bye because of it. So it is shorter,
very small, a little small.
Yeah, yep. Just a quicker or sooner start, which I think is good for guys, especially once the snow starts melting, if we had any, and you know, the want to starts to bubble up, you know, by April, and having to wait until
I honestly think getting back to it sooner is a little better.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't know that personally, but now that I know that, I think that's a little better.
See, now if you'd watched last week's Storm Report, you would have known. No, no, it was actually I was actually talking to a couple people who had watched our Storm Report last week, and you know, we were just kind of doing. We weren't able to get somebody, which happens. You know, things happen. People have lives. And we kind of did an update thing, and I got a couple of really great comments that were like, "Hey, that was really good because I didn't know this, I didn't know that," you know. So it actually worked out really nicely, yeah. But no, but you know, it is. I think it's going to be good because it's not going to affect a ton of the high school stuff because that's
the goal of it. Yep.
You know, we're not trying to jump over anybody and get into like play on their fields when the high school season's going on because that becomes a pain. So.
Yeah, it's definitely helped us out. I mean, that allows us to play 2 home games at Mount Anthony this year.
Yeah, that's good. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's really awesome. You know, I have to estimate attendance, but the stands are always filled there, and it's a great crowd.
It's usually a few hundred. Even, you know, I mean, ours get about 5 or 6 or more.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, we've had as many as 1,000, but that was 11 in one season, so that was kind of part of it. But yeah, I'm excited. There's a vote coming up. What, March? What's the date?
Oh, God, you asking me?
Yeah. When's the meeting for the vote?
Oh, for that, it's the town meeting day, March 5th. I believe it's the 5th. Whatever the town meeting day, they have a vote for Mount Anthony to do a turf field and putting in new lights because the lights are 30 years old.
Okay.
And possibly the track as well because the track is old and is in disrepair. And there's going to be a bond vote coming up during town meeting day, so first Tuesday in March. And from everything I've heard going back and forth about it, it's going to be extremely low effect on anybody in their taxes. It's, you know, something that can be paid off in a very short amount of time. It's nothing extra for the taxpayer. So it's, you know, it should be a no-brainer, but we'll see how Bennington votes on it. But there's, you know, that could be possible for us in the future as well. If that does go through, you know, we'll be able to play on the turf at Mount Anthony.
Which is nice. Brand new turf.
Yeah, it's much needed. Much needed. I think Adam and I are going to try to get together with some, I don't want to say decision makers. I can't think of the right word right now.
The people that are trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
In terms of getting people to vote for this.
Yep. Yeah, we're hopefully going to do that here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's something that is desperately needed. I wrote a letter today, matter of fact, to the banner, supporting it. And it, you know, essentially this, it's like, you know, being involved with the Storm since 2006, I think I've been to every stinking high school in New England.
Just about
over that period of time. And even 15 years ago, the Mount Anthony facility was in tough shape. Can't wait any longer. It's time. So that was kind of the gist of my letter, but we certainly would support it. You know, for them, obviously, would be secondary to it, but I just want to see something for the student athlete, really.
Yeah,
they need it bad. So
yeah, and I mean, and it's good for, you know, like I said, if you know, they do it and we're able to use it during those times, it's like we're not ruining anything, we're not tearing up the field. You know, I think it makes it better for us, and I think it'll help us, you know, injury if we, you know, guys are not getting injured as much. I don't think, you know, because it's not the kind of turf like, you know, the NFL has, even a different kind of field turf than we would be getting, I believe. And so, you know, the injuries, you know, I think the injury numbers could go down, and that would be, you know, for 20 to 40 somethings playing football and holding on to it all. Having that as a piece is a good thing.
Yeah. So, well, I want to thank you, Steve, for taking the time. That was a quick 23 minutes and something seconds. So I also wanted to
wait a second though. Wait a second. I want to say something else. I did see this today, and I want to congratulate you.
Yes.
You are going to be playing for a third this year. You're going to become a new father this year. So congratulations from us. And hopefully everything is good with you and your family.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're gonna put "Girl Dad" on the back of your jersey.
Yeah, that's gonna be on the back. Girl Dad.
There it is.
All right, man. Well, appreciate it. Be well. We'll see you very soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you, Steve.
Wow.